Apparently, I don't have to do that. Well, welcome everybody to our November 2024 AA Technology Sharing Session. The idea for these sharing sessions came about during a 2023 National AA Technology Workshop. There was a common feeling that our community of technology trusted servants needed more frequent opportunities to get together and share our experience than just once a year. These monthly sessions are an attempt to meet that need. The sessions will always be the last Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. The one exception is that our upcoming December 2024 session will be on December 17th instead of the last Tuesday of December to avoid conflicting with New Year's Eve. The topic of today's session is AI for AA. The presenters will have about 30 minutes for after the presentations, we'll have about 30 minutes for questions and sharing. So as you listen to the presenters, please write down any questions or comments that come to mind so you won't forget them. We'll finish at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time. The sharing sessions and the format are an experiment. So please, provide your feedback at the end through the survey link that we'll be putting in the chat. Uh, these sharing sessions, for these sharing sessions to evolve into long-term sustainable service project, we need your help. Please consider signing up to share a technology sharing session. This will involve picking the topic, arranging the presenters. The steering committee will gladly help you if it's needed. And then you'll also do what I'm doing now, which is read the format and facilitate the session itself. While you're welcome to sign up to chair a month as an individual, feel free to also take it on as an area or a group of trusted servants. If you're available to chair a session or are interested in serving on our steering committee, please reach out to techsharingsessions@gmail.com. There may be links and other information put into the chat throughout the session today, so that you don't have to worry about trying to collect it all and just listen and follow along. It'll all be available here in this Google Doc. There's a Google Doc that he'll link to right now in the sharing session in the chat. Lastly, please consider these sharing sessions as a learning group. Very few of us are experts in technology. We're just AA members that made ourselves available to help with our local service entities. And because of that, we now have some experience to share. So with that in mind, let's get into today's topic. We have three presenters today on the topic of AI for AA, Paul, Lois, and Layla. They're all going to be sharing about different ways of using generative AI for AA service. And I will just go ahead and turn it over to whichever of them has decided to go first.
That's Paul.
Unmute, Paul.
I'm looking for it. Yeah, sorry, they get smaller every year. Yeah, I'm Paul R., and I'm the incoming DCM for District 3 Eastern area of Missouri. The outgoing DCM was kind enough to let me do an experiment to see how we could accurately and with many checks use AI as part of the process for note keeping at the district meetings. Our district meetings tended to go about an hour and a half long, sometimes hour and 20, but that was fairly typical. I went ahead and put in the chat the two products that I'm going to be referencing, and I believe that an hour and a half a month falls under their free service. I professionally am using their service beyond that. I pay $20 a month for each of these products, but I don't believe that anybody that's just doing this as note keeping for a district meeting once a month should have to. The Otter AI, I use two parts of it. Like I've got it on my phone as an app. It's recording or transcribing rather what we're saying right now. And when this is done at the end of a meeting, I just hit stop, and by the time I get home, it's going to be up on the website, and I quickly process it. Let me see if I can figure out how to share. Just the green button, right?
Yep.
And uh, get to my Windows box, or screen, I guess. Is that seeing my stuff now?
It is. Oh,
Yeah,
you're sharing
okay.
your whole desktop.
Okay, good. Many games, nice games. So in a browser, this is what my conversations look like. These are the District 3 notes from November. I I go in there and do very little to the transcript because there's going to be mistakes. It identifies some people who identify themselves, and it'll retroactively go back and put their first name in. It puts my last name in this, which I uh, take out in the transcript. I'll show you that in a minute. Um, but it uses first names because that's what we're using in the meeting. I could go through here and double make sure that everybody's there. Like this one, it doesn't say who it is, but let's say this person was uh, I don't know, Don. If I were to identify that person as Don and tag them, it's gonna update Don to all of the ones where they recognize that voice. And it does a fair job. To be honest, I don't even really get into it much because it gets the main ones. It'll get the titles like treasure. So when I export this, it looks like this. So it exports it, it looks like this. And it'll have some names and it won't have other names, and it'll have some proper names. It gets the transcript pretty well, but it's every once in a while there'll be a proper name. Like if somebody's referencing a specific treatment facility, AI doesn't always hear that right. It can if it's using common words, but if it's uncommon, the secretary is going to have to know that and correct for that. But I take this and then I dump it into um, a different program called Claude, and I put in a prompt like this, and it's I'll break down how to engineer a prompt. By the way, this one I did last month. I didn't say omit last names. Generally, I tell it to omit last names. I should have corrected that, but I tell it to act as a meeting secretary using the attached transcript, and you can see right up here. I've attached it it's got the little paperclip thing on the prompt when you're setting this up, and I just attached those notes. Use the attached transcript of the October business meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, Area 38, District 3. Create an executive summary of the meeting with bulleted action items. Make particular note of any motions, including who made and seconded the motion, as well as the disposition of the vote of the motion. So here's what it comes down to. It's got a really nice, concise thing that talks about how the meeting covered various topics, including upcoming events, committee reports, and district business. Key discussions included the upcoming area assembly, Schwarza, however the heck you want to pronounce it, conference, and planning for year-end events. And then it had action items. Paul and Veronica to attend Schwarza, I like that pronunciation, conference on October 11th through 13, GSR to encourage to attend area assembly on October 19 and 20. Oh, this might have been a different month. I might have opened the wrong one, but oh, this is October. Sorry. I thought I was opening November. But regardless, Joe to verify time and space with NCO for December 14 meet and greet. Paul to order pizza for December district meeting. Veronica to create and distribute. So anybody who committed to anything, it lists it there. There were two motions made, one to accept the September meeting minutes with corrections. It didn't catch who made it. That's something that a meeting secretary would have to make notes of. Everybody threw out, like so moved or motion or something so quick, it couldn't get that. It never really gets who made the motion, but it does get the motion correctly, and it does understand that it passed and whether it was unanimous or not. It's listening for yays and nays, or it identifies. It's not really, how it is. Large language models aren't really thinking, but they catch the yays and the nays, and they can distinguish between the two. So it says that it passed. The notable points were that the current district bank balance was that, the attendance, I had 8 to 9 GSRs, 16 to 17 total attendees. The seventh tradition at that meeting was $44. Josh stepped down as alternate DCM to become GSR for his group, and District 3 volunteered to host the January Winter Assembly, and the meeting concluded with a responsibility statement. Now, these are not, total meeting notes. A secretary would supplement that with many things, but this gets the notes turned around very quickly and put out to the people who were there. Now, this is the second part, and this is where it gets it's really important, that we have to have this as a supplement where the person, like the secretary who leaves, and this took like 2 minutes to process. This is very quick. I had this to the people who were at to the DCM to look over, by the time she got home. It was that evening. And the two of us poured over, and I sent her the original transcript as well, not just the notes, but we poured over it looking for errors and stuff like that. And had that been something that we were submitting, it was good to submit with the supplement of who made the motions and who seconded them, which is a common thing that the secretary would have to add. So these are really useful tools. We do need to have, like, after the DCM in our district approves the secretary notes, the DCM puts it out to everyone who is on the mailing list. Most of them being people who were in the meeting, and they're encouraged to read the notes to verify that that's what was said for approval in the next meeting. Now, typically, those notes don't get emailed out until like a couple days before the next meeting. People have forgotten more than they remember of the last meeting. Putting it out on the day of the meeting when it's all fresh, I think gets a better communication with eyeballs, better chance of people reading it, because most people don't read it. Better chance of people noticing when something goes wrong. We need to have that human element in it. And I think we've already got the infrastructure at most district meetings to have eyeballs checking this stuff. So implementing AI speeds it up and makes it much more useful, and it's fairly concise. And I'm sorry, but a lot of people that get saddled with secretary are relatively new in recovery, and maybe are not the best typists and are kind of intimidated with all that. This is like really simple. They should just be conscious and paying attention to what went on, which is just tremendously more empowering, I feel. So let's talk about prompts, because how did we get this prompt? I use something that's called the RISEN prompt framework, and it's RISEN. RISEN stands for role, instructions, steps, end goal, and narrow. So like the role is act as a meeting secretary. I mean, here's my prompt. I think I can make that a little bigger to help out a little. So act as a meeting secretary is telling the AI what its role is, Instructions are using the attached transcript of the October business meeting for Alcoholics Anonymous Area 38, District 3. And then steps are create an executive summary of the meeting with bulleted action items. And then the end goal, I didn't use the end goal, but that would be something like if I was doing marketing, I would say who I'm marketing to, or it could be some qualifier that is what kind of tone do I want with this? Do I want to use active voice and present tense? That kind of thing. Like the end goal is involved in that. Like, this is a report for a business audience, and should be using formal English would be one. But then to narrow it, it's make particular note of any motions, include who made and seconded the motion, as well as the disposition of the vote on the motion. Other things that would go in for narrowing would be, and I don't do this for the meeting notes because I don't care how long it is, and they don't tend to be really, like, that's an hour and a half meeting on about a page and a half of notes. I'm pretty good with that. But if I wanted to keep it under 1,000 words, I would say so here. If I wanted to, I don't know, have it using only words that begin with vowels, that would be where I would say that to narrow the scope of the stuff. And that's that's my whole presentation. I really just am focused on how this can be a very useful tool to relatively new people to service to accurately represent what's going on and quickly turn around those notes in the hopes that this is of greater use to that AA district. Now, Lois and I are conducting some experiments now to see how can we apply some of these things to an 8-hour assembly notes. That is a different animal, and we're coming up with hopeful results. But we'll be doing that experiment for the next 4 assemblies, and we'll have a report back about that after that. Thank you.
Real
Let me
quick.
unshare.
Thanks. Real quick, there was 2 questions in the chat.
Oh, sure.
Was the meeting in person or virtual or hybrid, and what was the recording device?
It was an in-person meeting. I have 2 phones, and one is not connected to a phone. It's just for I've got one that I just use for recording, and I had it set up facing the table, and it's a long table, right, in a meeting room. I had it set up between the meeting secretary and the DCM who are on the head of the thing, but I had the pickup part aiming to everybody else. And there are times when somebody who is a low talker, if you remember Seinfeld, on the back end of the room that will miss stuff. And whoever does this on a regular basis is going to have to remember that and maybe jot down some notes to add to the stuff. So that's a great question. And if it were virtual and everybody were mic'd and I had a good audio feed, it would work better. And the recording device was what is it, a S21 Android thing. Yeah.
And
Thank you.
I broke the rules. We're supposed to wait for questions at the end, but Elise, if you've got like another short clarifying question, go ahead.
I'll keep it.
Okay, so yeah, sorry for interrupting.
That's okay.
Brian or Lois or whoever wants to take over, go for it.
Actually, Lila is next, so I'll let her.
Hi, I'm Lila. I'm an alcoholic and really happy to be here. Thanks so much, everyone. And that was great, Paul. I am going to share my screen and just show you a bunch of different ways that I am using this. So just give me 1 second. And oh, I have too many things open. Let's see. Well, I'll just share my whole screen. Can you see? Okay, great. Okay, so I just finished up a 7-week concepts workshop that my sponsor and our delegate just did, and we recorded it. I recorded it, and this is one of the weeks, concept 9 and 10. And I use the same tool that Paul already shared, so I'm not going to bother showing you. But what I wanted to point out was I kind of spaced out a little, and I said, "Oh shoot, I wasn't paying attention," and I asked Otter to catch me up on what I missed when I was spacing out. And Otter gave me a good overview, but then I said, well, you're actually telling me what they were talking about, but not saying what they said, what the actual points were made. So I always tell AI if I'm not getting what I'm hoping for, I ask it to help me out. So I corrected it and said, hey, you're telling me what it's about. I asked instead for you to tell me the specific points I made. And then it did a great job. It told me the very specific points of who said what exactly, but in summary, and I felt caught up. But then I said, you know what? Let me learn from this. And I said, I'm guessing the problem was me. And so I said, what prompt can I give next time to get that on the first try? It gave me a great prompt, and I put that into a place where I save prompts or other uh, bits of words that I use frequently. And so now I'll be able to get to that much faster the next time I'm spacing out in the middle of the meeting. And then I asked it a question. I wanted a summary of a question that someone asked for reasons that I'll show you in a second. And then I asked for the answer, and it was able to help me with all of that. The better option is for me to just listen in the first place, but you know, progress, not perfection. I'm not perfect. Um, so uh so from that recording, which wasn't perfect, I actually wanted to edit it a little bit for a few reasons. There's a Q&A session, and you know, we didn't want to have to get everybody's permission to have it recorded. We wanted to keep people's anonymity, and so uh, and so I edited the recording to summarize people's questions, and also just to make things a little bit more efficient to listen to. So I just made this pretend speaker share. So this is very similar to the system that Paul just showed. So if I were to play this, let's pretend it was. Hi, welcome to the Thursday night meeting of the state convention. So I'm pretending that this is a recording from a Thursday night meeting at the state convention, and I want to edit it. So first of all, I want to make it sound better. I'm going to push a button that says that's to just improve the quality and get rid of background noise. I also want to get rid of all the filler words. As you can see, there was a lot of ums, things like that. I don't want to have to get rid of it all individually. It's a lot of editing work, so I'm going to find all the filler words. I'm going to say, just get rid of them. I could have looked at them one by one, but I just trusted it to get rid of it all. And then I'm going to make some changes here. If I were sharing a recording with people, they don't need to hear about the logistics. Someone's double parked and blocking somebody else. I know I've heard that in a lot of speaker tapes. There's no reason that we need to include that. So I'm just going to edit that right out with a click of the button. So I'm going to take out, start with some logistics first and get rid of that. I'll just leave it with let's get going and blah, blah, blah about the main speaker. And and then my Amazon Echo started talking. So I'm going to just get rid of that. And one other thing is, you know what? I want to add in just a little, I'll just say, oops, I'm going to just add in, uh-oh, thank you. Because I wish I had said that and I forgot. So I'm going to go ahead, say done writing, and I am going to just go ahead and play this.
Welcome to the Thursday night meeting of the state convention. We're so excited to have everybody here and to get going. let's get going. Blah, blah, blah about the main speaker.
Oh, it didn't work. But normally it would work. I think I forgot to uh, change speaker, Lila AI. It might, oh, it hadn't generated it yet. All right. That's going to take us, oh, there it goes. Oops. I'm not gonna waste your time, but it does say thank you. My robot voice says thank you. Okay, so that's that. And then
Lila, what tool was that?
that is one I just recently found called Descript,
Okay.
and you can try it for free. And then if you like it, I think it's like, I can't remember, 10 or 20 bucks a month, something like that. And then I'm going to go into ChatGPT and just a few different examples. And these were some I just, these are mock examples, not real. Um, but they may or may not be built on things I've heard over the years or experienced. So I said to ChatGPT, my sponsee is struggling with her home group. She's in the middle of doing some step work on this, but I also want to tell her about Bill's essay on leadership from the ninth concept. By the way, if anybody hasn't read that, it is so good. Um, I love it. But anyway, um, uh, it was so valuable to me in my home group and even in work and the rest of life. Can you write me a text I can send telling her about the highlights and asking her to read it before we meet, and we can discuss it along with her step work. So ChatGPT gave me an answer, but it stuck with just what I told it, and I actually had wanted it to give me the highlights from the actual essay. And so again, I just correct it when I don't quite get what I want the first time. And I could have been nicer, but I said I was hoping you would actually write the highlights. Um, and she knew just what I was talking about. She knows a lot about about AA. Um, I like Claude better for like real deep reasoning, but in terms of AA knowledge, ChatGPT has a lot more. So uh, she actually gave me a great summary of that essay, and I would probably want to edit this a little bit, but she knows so much about my style and um all sorts of things about me that she actually got it pretty similar to what I might say in real life. um and then let's pretend that that same sponsee has come back maybe like 3 or 4 more times. um I know I certainly have had to 10 step the same thing more than once in my life, and my brain doesn't always work. Tonight's a great example of that, but sometimes I just can't make myself think of words. So I said here, I just finished a really long work day. I'm completely brain dead. My sponsee just sent me a text about a resentment that she's worked through a few times. So I've heard the same 10th step several times, but it keeps coming up for her. I want to spend time with her on this tomorrow, but I just can't tonight. But I'd like to get back to her right away. The resentment is that the secretary or chair of her home group is bossy in her perception. She gets peace with it, and then they conflict, and the resentment gets renewed. Will you please just help me craft a text to hold her over just for tonight and see if she's available to talk tomorrow? And ChatGPT said um, uh, something that was just okay and not that helpful. And I said, again, I correct her. Can you include a little bit more based on what you know about me and how I sponsor? And she, again, it was still um, a little generic. And I said, can you include sponsorly advice? I don't use ChatGPT to sponsor sponsees. Um, I don't. Humans are the way to go, and my experience, strength, and hope is the way to go. But sometimes, especially because I have a number of health issues that cause brain fog. Sometimes my brain just can't put words together. And so it gave me a little bit more of a start, and then I would be able to edit from there. Or I might actually just use this. I don't know. But it says, hey, thanks for reaching out about this. I could tell it's really bugging you. I know how frustrating it can be when a resentment keeps coming back, especially when it feels like you've already worked through it. I'm completely drained tonight. I want to be able to give it the attention that it deserves. So let's dive in tomorrow if you're available. In the meantime, maybe take a moment to pause and pray or meditate on this, ask for clarity or peace around the situation. You could also jot down anything new that's coming up for you about the resentment. Sometimes it helps to get it out of your head and onto paper. Let me know what time works for you tomorrow. That's one possible way. I do this one every week. Someone's always got a birthday if I'm lucky, and I my home group is virtual, and so I like posting celebratory gifts. So in this case, I said a new member who recently joined our home group is celebrating 3 months of sobriety for the first time ever. I've been getting to know her and she loves dogs and biking. Can you make a vivid celebratory image to celebrate those 3 months that incorporates her favorite things? I'll post in the Zoom meeting when she announces it. And it gave me a great image, but then I was like, that's not what she looks like. Maybe don't include any human beings. So then within seconds, she gave me this other one, and I thought, oh, that's great. Um, and so I would just copy and paste that into my Zoom chat, or sometimes I text it to lots of group members and we'll all share it on our phones at the same time when they announce it. Yay. um that's another way I use it. Another way I use it is sometimes um in TIAA. I'll use it for help. And in this case, I've actually created a chat GPT. So I put all the community management guidelines and processes and stuff like that and in there, and sometimes I'll ask it questions about community management. Sometimes I've used it to write a hot topic, and it knows how to do it because I've uploaded the instructions. I've used it to answer sometimes people, if I see a post that hasn't gotten any responses, and I don't actually know how to answer, sometimes I'll ask TIAA GPT for help. So that's another way. And then another one, sometimes I want to go to a meeting. I don't want to go to maybe it's 5:30 and I don't want to go to a 5:30 meeting. I like the vibe of 7:30 meetings. So I'll say, hey, where is it 7:30 in the world? And it'll give me the country, and I'll look up the AA meeting list for that country. So those are a few different ways, and that is what I have. If you have questions, or I might be out of time. Am I out of time?
You're close, but you did great.
If anybody wants me to type anything in and test it out, happy to do that.
Let's wait till I'm done, and then we'll see if people wanna maybe all of it, we can all practice together or something.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good
Thank
job,
you,
Lila.
Layla. Wonderful job.
Lila, it's Lila, by the way.
Lila,
That's
Lila,
awesome.
sorry.
Spelling's confusing.
It is. Let's see, now me, and I need to make sure I'm sharing my system audio as well. Computer audio. Okay. Wait, that's just computer audio. Hold on. And also screens. All right, what are you guys seeing? Like AI for AA? Okay. Hey everybody, I'm Lois L. I'm an alcoholic from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm currently serving as a member of the community management team on the Technology and AA forum, and also one of the committee members for our hospitality room, a TIAA hospitality room at the International Convention. I'm also active in my local technology committee and beyond. I don't think of myself as a technologist. I'm more of a technology enthusiast. And professionally, I work as a user experience researcher and a digital strategist, so I'm the people side of technology. But I'm really excited to talk about this topic today. And I'm by no means an expert. I'm glad we set the stage for that, Brian. I'm not an expert, but as an enthusiast, I have found myself speaking and writing about AI a bit in AA in the past. And so I'm excited. Jacob will share some of those resources if you want to hear the first talk I gave on this at NAATW in 2023, or if you want to read an article I wrote for my area newsletter, you can check that out. But as some of you might have heard me say, in AA we're supposed to like go over things over and over again, but I'm kind of into the new and novel, so I'm really excited that I can sort of spruce up my talk from NAATW, and so much has changed, right? So I'm excited to give an update for you guys. All right, let's go. Trying to keep an eye on the time too. All right, let's see. One more. All right, so today I'm going to talk about ChatGPT, but not only ChatGPT, more than that. But actually, ChatGPT is now 2 years old, and it's so much better, than the last time I spoke about it. And there are several other cool new things. But just for example, when I first spoke, it was ChatGPT 3.5. It only had history up to like a certain point, and you couldn't do a lot if you didn't pay. Now, free tier users can do things like you saw Lila today do, like draw with Dolly. You can browse the web in ChatGPT for free. You can analyze and extract insights. You can upload images in your prompts. You can provide support files in your prompts. And you can use GPT sort of like what you can't make your own if you don't pay, but what Lila was showing you was a custom GPT she uses for TIA, which I thought was cool. I haven't seen that before. So much more that you can do now with ChatGPT along with others. All right, let's get into it. So here's an example of uploading and analyzing. I was at my area assembly and multitasking, of course. And since ChatGPT supports file uploads, I said, hey, can you help me understand the trends in my data? I need insights into the patterns. I'm going to pop open GPT and show you what this looks like. I was kind of hoping it would open in this window. So I ask it, help me understand trends in my data. And by the way, here's something I do. I love all of the tips you heard before. I say, if you need more information, ask me a follow-up question. So if I don't know how to prompt, in the same example where Lila said, give me a better prompt, I'm saying, hey, ask me questions about this. So it tells me it'd be happy to help me. It says, tell me about the file format. I tell it, this is a PDF, by the way, but you could have uploaded a CSV. What it is, it tells me to upload my treasurer's report, and I do. And then it goes into telling me about the income trends. Look, hey, we found out one of the districts that contributed the most and the least. I'm not sure, you want to make that kind of competitive statement in AA, but that's what it did. It told me about expenditure trends. It told me like key expenditure categories. Oops, corrections in technology might have incurred a lot of expenses. And also look at those delegates, right? They're traveling a lot. And then it had these outliers, which was really interesting. Like, I don't always know what to pay attention to. It was like, hey, this unknown district had over $2,000 in contributions. Like, if you want to get all riled up at the area assembly, it gives you something to go ask questions about. But it was kind of cool, right? And just an example of how you might use file upload. I'm sure you all, and I hope you all are thinking about this, right? Like, I do live for the day, though, when my GSR gives a report like that, instead of like giving me the budget and rambles on and on about, I don't know, all the money. Anyway, I'm sure that you guys might have some cool ideas for how you might use this as well. All right, what's the next one? Oh, actually, this was, I mean, sort of similar to what Lila did. I I was interested in a non-AA book, but I wanted to read it with AA people. So I said I'd like to study this book with a few others in Alcoholics Anonymous, apply what it is to AA. Could you create a study guide for me and break it down into weeks so I can see how long it would take to read? You know, people want to know, how long is this thing going to last? All right, now let's open it all. All right, but here it is. So actually the book was Servant Leadership. It tells me about the book. I'm like, okay, that looks great. I give it that prompt and it gives me a study guide. And here's the cool thing, right? So it tells me, actually, I don't know, 40 pages is a lot to read in 1 week, but in the discussion, it literally says, like, what does it mean to be a servant leader in AA? So it understood that I wanted to read it with AA people, and it sort of customized it to AA. So that was another example. I mean, think about that. I mean, you guys probably have other ways you might use that for a workshop or some kind of group you want to work with, maybe sponsees, something like that. Okay, so this is my anti-pattern. I have so many examples. I'm going to try to move through this quick, but it's not always correct. I asked it both, what are the 12 concepts of AA and what are the 12 concepts of AA? List them out verbatim. And this one's tricky because you have to kind of know. And I asked Gemini, I asked Perplexity, I asked ChatGPT, they didn't get them. So let me show you. Here's Gemini. This one's the worst. What are the 12 concepts of AA? Maybe because I misspelled it. And it says powerlessness, surrender, faith. I'm like, okay, no, that's not what I meant. So I asked Perplexity. Actually, I like Perplexity a lot. It's kind of interesting because it shows you sources. And it gets closer, but look, we're going to focus in on concept 3. And I personally know that concept 3 is about right of decision, but that's not the whole concept. I do like that it's showing me where these things are and what the sources are, right? Tri-County AA. But you know, that's not quite right. So then I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, oh, my standard ChatGPT, it will know. So I asked ChatGPT, what are the 12 concepts of AA? And okay, it's still kind of getting there. It's basically, I mean, in some ways, this might be useful because it's like, okay, you know, if you're trying to talk about this in real world words, these are what the concepts are about, but it's still not the actual concepts. I'm like, I'll just tell it, do it verbatim, right? So I think I've got it figured out. I'm like, okay, I tell it, what are the 12 concepts of AA? List them out verbatim by number. We're going to focus on concept 3 again. And I want to tell you guys, this is still not the full concept. And I didn't even get, I'm not even a concept nerd, so, but I might have bought that this was accurate, especially because I told it verbatim. But let's just go look on AA.org. I'm popping up the service manual. As a traditional means of creating and maintaining a clearly defined working relationship. Okay, this is verbatim concept 3. So just, this is my warning to you all. Be careful, don't copy it all. You know, anyway, I think there are ways we could fix this. We could probably do what Lila did. We could probably upload the service manual, create a custom GPT. You could query that. It would be accurate. Maybe tell it, you know, where to look. But anyway, that's an anti-pattern. Okay, paying attention to time. Okay, this is one of the more exciting things to me. I personally am using ChatGPT all the time to help me use software tools better. I really think that this is something we need to pay attention to because we struggle with like technology servants and not have enough people or people who say they don't know how to do things. So I think we should consider a AI tech sponsor. Anyway, here's the prompt. Create a simple app that shows the time of day in New York City, London, St. Louis, and Tokyo. I mean, you guys could do this too. I'd be interested to see if we get different kinds of code, right? What we get from this prompt. But I did it, and here it is. It creates some HTML, and then it writes a script. And by the way, if you're learning to code, you can see what that script is. And it tells you how to use the code, and I preloaded that so you guys can see it. Here you go, Lila. This is what you need. You just have an app now. You'll know all the time, right? You'll know what time it is where I am. It's 6:45. So kind of cool, right? Like, oh, it's actually writing code and it can do even more than that, but it can really help you with your code. I've also used it to help me understand what this developer is saying to me. And so those of you who are, maybe you've got someone who talks too technical, you can get some good help there. Okay, this one. I did make a post about this already on TIAA. I am going to try my very best to copy a link to that. So now you're going to have to join TIAA, Paul, if you want to see this one yourself. But I'm going to drop this in here because we don't have time to do the whole thing. But this is Notebook LLM, which is a Google product that I am pretty excited about. Okay. Notebook allows you to add your own sources, and you can add all kinds, right? From Google Drive, you can use a website or a YouTube video as a source. You can add your own custom content. In this case, I uploaded the crowdsourced notes from NAATW. The first thing I got was a briefing. This is something you can ask it to do. I'm going to show you this. Like, you can say, help me create, right, a briefing doc. So that's what this is. I created a briefing doc for NAATW. And again, think this is sort of along the lines of what Paul was talking about, but for those of you who, like, I don't know, get funded to go to NAATW, if you need to report on it once you get back, look at this. It gave these great key takeaways and emerging trends. And it did a really good job of taking our crowdsourced notes, which, if you guys don't know, those are like, we all are typing in there. They're wandering and deep. And made it a lot more concise. But the thing that was really exciting that I posted on TIAA about is you can also use this to make a podcast. And so I created a custom podcast based on that. I think I can play you guys just a little bit. If you want to hear the whole thing, you're going to have to go out to TIAA and listen to it. But let's see. Hopefully this works. People start nodding if you can hear it.
What's interesting to me is this tension between tradition and innovation.
Yeah.
You wouldn't necessarily think of AA as being on the cutting edge of tech,
Right.
but they're grappling with some really interesting questions about how to use these tools effectively and ethically.
Absolutely. And one thing that really struck me was the sheer enthusiasm from these attendees.
Okay.
The report even mentions people calling themselves tech steppers.
Really?
I love that.
Okay.
It shows a real commitment to using technology.
Okay, pretty cool. I think I actually paused the wrong thing. Are you guys still seeing my screen? What are you seeing? Okay, all right. So that, pretty cool, right? It uses 2 voices. I listened to the whole thing. There's a little bit of problem. It did not say National AA Technology Workshop. It said something else, but I think we could have fixed that. Primed it, used Lila's audio editing, but
Descript.
yeah, use Descript. But I'm going to ask you guys a lot of how might we questions, but I don't know, how might we use this? I mean, background information, conference reports, who knows? Also, the flip side of that is we have a lot of audio, right? So who knows how we might use this, but we have a lot of that in AA. Okay, watching time quickly. Okay, I said mostly useful things, so I'm just going to give you guys a couple of fun things too. I used it. I like to play board games. I used it to make Alcoholics Anonymous related taboo cards. If you've ever played the game Taboo, ChatGPT did that for me. Perhaps we will bring this to International Convention if you all want to play. I have play tested it. It's very fun. Something you might want to try. Something else, this is a different tool, using a tool called Suno. Suno is it's a music generator. Let's see, what would they call it? Did I get it up here? Oh, maybe not. Let's see. Hopefully I saved a link somewhere. Let's see. I might be light on that one. That's not it, is it? Dang it. I wanted you guys to hear this. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Ooh, I know my history because I definitely tried it. Stand by. Who knows what this is going to look like? Oh, you guys probably shouldn't look at that. Hold on. Let's see. Poor Jacob's going to have to like clean all of it up. All right, well, let's just try it again. I thought I saved it. So how I use this is in the past, if someone has an anniversary, a good friend of mine from the area had 35 years. So I wrote him a song and sent him a song. But for our purposes, I wrote a song about using, what was the prompt? Let's see, it was upbeat song about how AA can use AI to carry the message. Here you can see some of the chorus, right? And I'm gonna try to play that for you too. Let's see how that goes. Oh, I have to play it from Suno. All right, let's see. Play you a little bit of that. All right, it's not perfect. Are you hearing it? Oh, dang. Shoot. All right, hold on. You are hearing it? Okay. All right, good. Here we go. Glowing screens begin to call. Messages from changing lives on a digital road. All right. All right. It's, you guys get it, right? Like I don't go to church, but one thing that I've always found cool about church is that you sing. Maybe we should be singing in AA, and I can't wait to hear all of your 4-step songs. Okay, that was a fun thing. All right, okay. All right. These are kind of controversial, but I want to tell you that a lot of people are using AI as a coach or a guide, right? Themselves, like, and think about it. I mean, it's a little far out there, but I already use tools. I have an app for a gratitude list. I have an app that I use to meditate with. So this is taking it just a little bit further. And I want to show you one called Character AI. And you might be already seeing what's on there. Let's see, do I have character? Yeah, I do. Okay. Sure enough, so Character AI is in essence sort of an AI powered conversational agent. It's designed to mimic human-like interactions. A lot of fan fiction people use this. You can talk to Batman, right? But sure enough, I didn't make this. I went out there and searched, and there's already a Bill Wilson. I asked him what he thought about the plain language big book. He told me he had mixed feelings about it, right? But he's in favor of anything that helps people to become sober, right? So if we, I have a friend that always talks about how Bill can't speak from the grave. Well, I don't know, maybe he can. Let's see, I am going to, but the other thing are GPTs. Now, so Lila showed you a custom GPT, and I'm going to show you, let's see. I probably needed to be a little more awake for that. We're going to explore GPTs. All right. So these are custom GPTs that you guys can use. There's lots of them in here, even by ChatGPT, but you can search, and let's just search for Alcoholics Anonymous and see what we find. Oh, look at this. We've got a sobriety companion, alcohol support, recovery sponsor, digital sponsor, an old, friendly, well-read sponsor. Imagine the different kinds there could be, right? Here we go. Alcoholics Anonymous, a procrastinator's coach, tough love coach who calls you out, right? So these exist, right? Let's see what the tough love coach, a lot of times they'll say, yeah, conversation starters, right? Ask me about a problem I'm having or things like that, right? And you can kind of see how many people have used them. I mean, they're not that big, but I don't know, maybe AA makes its own. Maybe you make one for yourself. But these are custom GPTs. Yes, custom GPTs. So it's Chat GPT and it's a custom GPT. All right. Let's see. Yeah, thanks, Paul. So I think I actually played around with one, like looked for an affirmation. I was having a rough day, I asked affirmation Annie for one and I got it. And I think I think I want you guys to think about where this is going, right? Whether or not, like, I think most alcoholics will be like, this is bad, this is great. I'm just trying to make you aware that this is what's happening. And who knows, right? A service sponsor or a tech sponsor might be a good way to use this. We all know that human connection is important, right? None of us are trying to replace that, but I don't know, it might, if you have a, a wellness coach, a fitness coach, right? I used to have a business coach. We might be able to have some AI coaches here. All right, I'm doing good. Okay, so I'm going to close with saying I think we should all keep talking about this. I think we can use AI to more effectively carry the message, and in some ways, we do that by making ourselves more effective and efficient, right? So some of the stories that Paul was telling you and that Lila was telling you, I think make us more effective and efficient, and so I think we should be exploring that and doing that. I absolutely think we should be using AI to build more tech service workers, right? To encourage even, well, I loved Paul's story about secretaries, but anybody, right? Like, hey, let's teach you how to talk to the AI and it can coach you through setting up a WordPress site or, being a Zoom moderator, things like that. And finally, I just want to say, I think we should all be learning together. I want to propose like maybe an AI interest group that we could sort of start on TIAA. We could all keep talking about it, tag our posts with AI. We can all geek out together. And as you know, we are better than me. So I think if we keep sharing, we can do that on TIAA. And that is all I have. Look, I left plenty of time for questions. Because I know
Thank
how you
you.
guys are. We like to talk better than listen.
Well, you're going to get to talk more in the question and answer period. That's part of the more talking. So thank you so much, Lois. That was wonderful. All three of us, that was wonderful. We already have hands going up. We'll now move into the question and sharing. If you have a question on the topic or would like to share your own experience on the topic, please raise your virtual hand under reactions in the Zoom software. Please keep your share to 3 minutes or less. If your share does not reach 3 minutes, I'll give you a little gentle reminder. Or if your share does reach 3 minutes, Jacob or I will give you a little reminder. And we're going to start with Iva. Unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah, thanks. The question I have, and I don't know, maybe I missed something, but what are this is directed to Lila, what is the purpose of these scripts? Because to me, it's like I have scripts in my head and I played them out and they never, when I talk with somebody, they never work out. And I'm thinking, what are the purpose of these scripts in chat? It doesn't make sense to me.
Can you help me understand the question?
The question is, what is the purpose of those chats that you demonstrated? Those chat that your demonstration, like you had talks, discussions with chats with, well, tell your sponsee this or tell your sponsee that. And I'm thinking, you're dealing with the computer. You're not dealing with people. And I know for myself too that I work from home now, and I get so much I have to be careful and get out of my head and go outside, and even though sometimes I'm not a real social person, I still have to go out and deal with people. Like being on the computer all the time and making it my whole world isn't healthy for me.
I
And
don't
I think
hear
this
what you're saying.
AI is eliminating the human factor.
Yeah, I don't know what you're saying. The purpose is the purpose that I shared about. So I'm sorry if you're not getting enough human interaction.
It's not about me getting enough human. I just say it's a danger. It's something I have to make sure I get enough of. But when I'm seeing these scripts and I'm seeing these demonstrations, I see people that are people being replaced. The human factor is being ripped apart. And in AA, that doesn't really work. A lot of AA is based on, my experience with being in AA is based on relationships, not on a computer generated script.
Well, that's okay. Everybody gets to do things exactly in the way that works best for them. And for me, for all of the reasons that I shared about, those were a bunch of examples where I do want help. So I'm going to lean on it. And the great thing is, you don't have to. Just like we all have different conceptions of lots of things. People work the steps differently. People have different conceptions of a higher power. There's no AA police saying exactly how things need to be done. So you get to do what's right for you. Um, and when my brain, because of a variety of health issues, doesn't put together words, and I know what I want to say, but I can't get the right words out in that moment, I'm going to use it. And I know that it's strong.
But whenever I use a program, it's like Google or browser search program, I think of of the built-in biases that are in that program. Like
Yeah.
with Google, you know what it is, I understand, and I know with this chat
Here's
program,
what I would say,
there
just
are
because I don't
built-in
want to,
there are
I'm going
certain
to
ways.
interrupt you, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt you just because I want to make sure people get their questions answered. This is a great topic for TIAA. Feel free to put a post there and people can use their own time outside of this. If you don't like it, don't use it. This particular thing is for people that want to check out how they can use it to help them with different stuff in AA. And for me, I can't remember the exact quote from the end of the big book, but I personally try not to um uh criticize anything before really giving things a good try. Then, when I find actual problems from trying it and then investigating to see what I could have done differently, and I can speak from actual experience, then I do. But I definitely want to make sure other people have time to ask their questions.
Thank you. And thank you for your question, Iva. We're going to move on to Elise.
Thank you. I was interested in the first presentation where you mentioned that you wished it had noted the movement and the seconder for motions. And I'm wondering why that's important to you. My background on that is I'm a lawyer and there's no legal reason that you need them. In my area, the motion belongs to the body once it's made. So, and we try to stay out of personalities on the whole. So there's just no reason to put the personalities in the record. Um, so what am I missing?
Hi, I'm Paul Wright, or Paul R, alcoholic. I don't know. It's the way I was told when I was secretary 16 years ago. I was told always note who makes the motion. We're not putting down last names, but it's always like, Bob L make the motion and Cindy Q seconded it. Sometimes we do things in AA that we were trained, and maybe in your area they don't do that. I don't have a more substantive answer than that.
Past secretaries in my area have done it. And then a high dollar board, I would note the movement, but I'd still say it doesn't matter who seconds. And the only way seconding can be fixed is right then on the floor by the chair. But I was just wondering, I am serving as area secretary at the moment. And, I don't know if you know the old tale about why someone's mother always cut the ham in half before she baked it. Right, because her mother did it that way. Well, ask grandma, she didn't have a big enough pan. No reason to keep doing it. So I just wanted to mention that in case somebody wanted to stop having to note all those things. Thanks.
Noted. Thank you, Elise. We're going to go ahead to Tom C.
Yeah, hi. Thanks so much for what you're doing. It's really, really useful. I have a question. I guess it would be for Paul at the beginning. I went onto the Otter website and looked at what their free version included, and it says it's 300 monthly transcription minutes and 30 minutes per conversation. Could you help me understand what that means in terms of the length of a meeting?
Yes, and thank you for looking that up. I'm sorry I didn't do the research on that one. That means if you have a 30-minute meeting, that will be covered under the free uh, plan.
Okay, so if we have a 60-minute meeting, we'd either have to stop it after 30 minutes or start it under a different account name or buy a paid plan. Is that correct?
You could do a workaround by stopping that transcription, starting a new one, and it
Right.
should fall. What was the second metric that you said?
Yeah,
Because I think it'll fall into the second
yeah, no,
metric.
because it's 300 minutes and that's enough time, you know.
Yeah, but if you've got, let's say, a hour and a half meeting, breaking it into 3 different 30-minute sections should do that. I did run into it when we're testing at the area where it's not ready for prime time, but I ran into with my paid subscription. There's a 4-hour limit. There's like a hard wall that it just shuts off at 4 hours, no matter what, and I had to just restart a new one. So I would say that's going to limit you to breaking your
Yeah,
meeting up
okay.
into chunks and then processing it separately.
Got it. Got it. It also said something about you can import and transcribe 3 audio or video files. Have you done, have
Yes,
you?
that's something that's easy to do. Before Otter was incorporated into Zoom, I used to take the Zoom audio file from my Zoom meetings and I would drop that in there.
Okay, and it says for the free one, you're limited to 3 for the whole lifetime, so that's not going to be, you know. What about and the last question is, it says that for AI chat, 20 inquiries monthly. What does that mean? Do you know have you ever used that?
That's a new feature on that AI product that I have not explored because I process in a different way. I developed a process that I'm using with other tools, so
Okay.
I've not used that on Otter.
And is there another alternate to Otter Otter that you recommend we take a look at, or is that the one you found to be the best one for a meeting note for transcriptions?
I understand there are several others that are quite good and commercially viable. This one I latched onto when it was the first I ran across like 2.5 years ago, and I've just been using it because of inertia.
Okay, well, that's what I'm going to do too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tom, you could ask ChatGPT that too.
You could also just Google Otter AI alternatives.
Yeah, but Google, here, I'm just going to say something quickly. So Google is keyword search and ChatGPT is semantic search.
Okay.
So there's a difference in the results you get, right? So anyway.
Could you speak to that for just a little bit longer, Lois?
Yeah, so it's a big difference. So keyword search, let's just say Otter AI, you're going to get all these results. Otter AI, might be Otter AI, might be Otter AI. But your question was more like, are there other examples of, something like Otter? Like I would put that into ChatGPT and ChatGPT will go, yes, there's blah and blah and blah. Or like you were asking about, what does this mean? 20 minutes of upload for this much. I would put that into ChatGPT and have it interpret it for me. You wouldn't be able to get a Google search of that. What does this mean? 20 minutes of, so that's the
Understood.
difference between
Thank you.
semantic and keyword. Yep, thanks.
Go ahead, Lou.
Thanks, everybody. Excellent presentations all. Just a quick question for Paul. I was wondering if you've ever used the actual Zoom recording on as a feed into the process that you described. It seems like, as you sort of alluded to, Otter's already built into Zoom, and the transcripts look pretty similar. So couldn't you just take, if you had hybrid or a virtual meeting, couldn't you just take that into the as the input for the summarization stuff that you had? And also, I guess along with that, if you've done that, Zoom also provides AI summaries. Have you found much difference between what what you get or that?
That's a great question, and I'm afraid in my business I'm developing AI products that are built on some of these products for my business, and I am very focused on use case. And when I find a solution, I build on my knowledge base in that area to the exclusion of other things. I'm afraid the use case you're asking about. When I was still using Zoom regularly as a part of my business for the audio file for the Otter transcription, they've changed that technology and its interaction significantly since I last used it. So I'm sorry, I don't have a good answer for you.
Okay, thanks.
I'm learning more and more about less and less with AI.
I understand. The last thing I wanted to do, apologize for taking a little long here. I was voted the host committee chair for the hospitality suite at the October border meeting at TIAA. So I just wanted to give a heads up to everybody. Watch TIAA for the next couple of days. We're going to have our first organization meeting of that host committee. And again, this is the host committee for the International Hospitality Suite in Vancouver. We've already got a commitment for a suite. It'll be a nice suite at the Fairmont waterfront in Vancouver. Come see us there. But for us to have something that you can come see, we need a host committee to figure out how to afford it. It's going to be self-supporting. So we have to figure out how to fund it. We have to figure out what we want for a program there. Lois is obviously going to have a game table there, but as she has at all of the NAETWs. But if we want anything else, and we also have to staff it. We have, my wife and I have agreed to sort of be the parents in the room, but we'll need people to figure out what hours we want to be open and how we're gonna staff that the whole time we're there. We're going to want people both there and virtual. In other words, if you're not going to the international, you're still welcome to be on the host committee and contribute, and there may be parts of the program that'll be virtual connected through the forum and like that. So the first brainstorming session on that's going to be the first part of December. That'll be announced shortly in a post within the next couple of days on a post on TIA, excuse me, TIAA. So watch for that. Thanks.
Thank you, Lou. Leslie.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for the presentation tonight. It was absolutely fantastic. I really got a lot of good stuff from it. We are using AI. I just have, I don't know if a question, but more of a statement, I guess. We're using AI in our area. We recently had our area inventory, and we used AI for that. And it was, it just kept, it's summarizes what everybody said. And what we're going to do now is the chair is going to send this out to the people that attended, and we're going to form some ad hoc committees to really start solve some problems. So it was great. The other thing I wanted to say is that this type of technology really, because I've been secretary for my district, I've been secretary for different various things in AA, and it takes my emotion out of it. It takes my opinion out of it. Even when I'm doing emails, responding for emails for some people. So I think it's fantastic. I think, I wonder, and I was sitting here listening to you guys, if they used AI for this. Because I just got my copy yesterday, and I wonder if they used it. And it was pretty much all I had to say. Thank you for your presentations. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Leslie. I don't believe there was a question there, so we're going to move on to Jennifer.
Thanks. And yeah, I agree. Thanks everybody for your presentations. It was really interesting, and I love talking about this for sure. And I'm always kind of bummed out when there's people who are naysayers against technology, but that's what it is. I just wanted to share with you what I kind of have run into recently. I have just been appointed the secretary of our area. Halfway through a rotation, the secretary is kind of MIA. So there's no minutes, there's nothing, there's just, everything was piled in my lap. All I have is these 10 to 12-hour recordings of our assemblies and quarterlies. Of course, those are too long. So I found a audio cutter where I could splice the audio up. I took that and I put it into, this was free. I put it into Restream, which is a free transcriber, and it just gave me a document really quick. I took that and cut out each report, put it into chat and said, please clean up and shorten this report. And I used that for the minutes. And I tell you, it was a lifesaver. And I also did it for our inventory. Using this for inventories is probably the best thing ever, because it really helps. And, you know, our inventories are done by our past delegates, and they're not super tech savvy necessarily. And so this was really helpful. And that was just my experience with what I've gone through recently and used AI. So again, thanks to everybody for presenting this.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jennifer. Billy from Detroit.
When you're talking about using it for inventories, I'm like, you're using it for fourth step? Wow. So I wanted just to quickly touch on, and maybe this will be a future topic, but Discord is just one of the angles, but more of collaborative platforms. You know, Zoom is a meeting platform. You know, Teams could be a collaborative platform. Google Spaces, I think it is. I don't know what Google is because I'm old and I'm all more Microsoft. The younger generation is Google. And then my daughter, who's 23, I mean, I watched these kids play Dungeons and Dragons using Discord, and they have multiple channels going, different conversations. Everything is segmented. You know, they have one channel that's like music. So we're kind of in one of our meetings where we've split out a table and we're looking to build on a collaborative platform where we can do deeper dives into different talks, Sobercast, Father Bill, and two-way prayer, and kind of do kind of graduate level for people that want to do some deeper exploration into.
I think we lost you, Billy.
Oh, so something we could have both in-person people attending the meeting as well as virtual. And so we're trying to look at, you know, those next steps. We see a lot of Zoom meetings out there. What are some of the tools that we can start to leverage that are collaborative platforms that way?
I mean, well, TIAA is a collaborative platform, Billy. I would throw that out there. I would also say we heard a great talk at NAHW this year on using Mastodon to do something like that. So, and it might be time to, you know, revisit it. We definitely, when we started TIAA, I thought, I was thinking I wanted something like that too, right? So I think it's cool. I think it's cool that you're talking about it. Would love to hear more. I mean, Slack.
And I'm sure, well, like, again, I'm just kind of coming up from again, as we continue to evolve, how do we bring in young people, integrate young people? How do we, you know, engage young people when they need it? And I was halfway serious when I was talking about, you know, what are we going to be doing with technology as we evolve into the next generation and recovery in that space? Because I really believe that this young generation, these children that are being born now, are actually going to be growing up with their personal GPTs on their devices that are going to be like, hey, do you really want to drink that third beer? Or, you've been very quiet today. Is there something on your mind? And they're going to have these very interesting concepts going on. Now, at the same time, I think there's something for the DSM-7 that's going to be like GPT separation anxiety disorder that's going to come up, but we'll deal with that when we deal with that. But we're going to have these personalized, programs that are going to know individuals maybe even better than they know themselves at times. And how can we kind of lean more into that and start to utilize that and kind of plan for that?
Cool future topic. Love it.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you.
We're gonna take Dan's question now.
Yeah, great presentation. That, yeah, really opens up a lot of thoughts. Does anybody use like a chat bot on a website to help people find information specific to that website? Like
Yes.
most of I thought that might be in part of this too.
So one of my teammates that I'm collaborating with, that we're doing this advanced meeting, he just spent the past few months developing those, and he just gave me the phone number for one of this. He has a friend over in California. She has a large tract of land. They're looking at converting that into kind of a spiritual retreat, maybe leaning more into recovery. And so I called up this voice, and I'm talking to this voice, and I'm trying to throw it, and I'm trying to, throw some curveballs at it, and it's coming back at me pretty solid. I'm like, okay, this is very interesting. A couple of tweaks was, maybe turn down the call center background noise that they kind of added in there to sound like it was busy there. Maybe put some tranquil music because it is recovery. But I mean, voice interactive chat bots was insanely cool, and it was working. And I was trying to like give it a hiccup or make it knock it off its square, but it was coming right back at me pretty solid in real time.
But
Well,
even chats for tech support are getting pretty sophisticated and
Yeah.
keep me from talking to a live person a lot of times. So
Dan, I did post, I posted, the help chat has been something we've talked about for a while, right? Like at NAATW, and they're like AA Marin uses something like that. So that would be interesting. I think Billy made a good point though. If you guys don't know, voice is a new feature of ChatGPT as well, and you can talk to it, and it's a whole other animal when you do it talking, so I think we're going to see more of that for sure.
I have to ramble into it sometimes. I'll just like pace around the house and ramble trying to get out all of my thoughts, and then she's good. I have a shortcut where I just press a button um on my iPhone, and it just pops right up, and she's
yeah.
And imagine if that was listening to you all day long, and when you're taking your inventory at the end of the day, is there like, and you were processing that, you're like, is there anything that I missed? And I was like, yes, you said
actually,
this.
I totally use it for that.
Ah.
Wait a minute. I just want to make sure, are we using the right pronouns here? I'm not sure we are.
Hey, you can call it whatever you want.
Fair.
She prefers that I refer to her as Fifi, so okay.
We're talking about you.
I'd like to put a plug into all the home groups. My sponsor is the archivist for Area 38, and he's always saying he wants all of the notes of your group consciences, and most home groups never send him notes and don't have a secretary. If this is something that can be applied at your home group, please consider sending that to your archivist on a monthly basis or however you meet. The backlog of information that could go to your archives could be used over time by AA in ways that I can't even conceive.
Okay, so let's simplify this to make it easy for
Hang
them.
on, Billy. We're gonna.
This is people talking about how we can use you in AA.
It seems like they're discussing how to improve communication within AA groups. Starting sharing from group consciences with the area's archivist. This could help preserve.
Exactly.
I'd like to query the archives, Paul, actually. I mean, I love our archivist, but it sure would be nice at 2 a.m. to just, or for service resumes. How about you guys? Like, have you ever had to submit a service resume? I have. It's like, wait, what did I do when? I don't even remember. And then to ask the archivist to do it could take a while.
Yeah.
In our test at the last area assembly, we had people standing for positions, and we have to go through and look at the Otter transcript, but it looks like the DCM summaries may have been accurate. The service resumes of people who were standing for positions appears to be accurate. Lois and I are going through with a fine-tooth comb to see how well the AI did that. It's just not ready for prime time, but we're looking for those things in particular, and I think that will be a real boon once we've worked the bugs out and get some sort of consistency with this.
You gonna give me some help with that, Paul? Because I couldn't keep up with it as I was typing.
Is that Bob?
It
Yeah,
is.
it is.
Yeah, I've offered you the last year a couple times.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay, I think it's time to start winding this thing down. How about y'all? Let's see, did that. This brings us to the end of our session. If you have further questions or ideas you want to discuss with the AA technology community, please continue this discussion at the Technology and AA Forum, which is TIAA-forum.org. And Jacob is posting that link to the chat. And you're all invited to spend a whole weekend learning about and discussing how to best use technology in AA. At the NAATW workshop, November 7th through 9th in 2025 in Cincinnati, Ohio. Woohoo! Jacob is also posting that note in the chat. Before we close, here are a couple of closing announcements regarding the technology sharing sessions. As I mentioned prior to the presentation, we are a learning group with varying levels of technology experience from beginners to experts. And because we're a learning group, that means all of you are eligible to present at future technology sharing sessions on the topics you've learned something about in your journey AA service. You don't have to be an expert in the topic. All you have to do is share how you learn to use it for a specific task related to AA service. And you qualify. There's plenty of people who are going to learn from that experience. So please jump in if you have anything like that you'd like to share with everybody. Also, please fill out this feedback form for today's session. Jacob's posting a link to that in the chat. Here is a link to the technology sharing archives where you can find all of the recordings of the past sessions as well as the links to the supporting resources. So if you have a question about the resources that Lois or Paul or use or referred to, they're going to be in these documents that Jacob provides in this link. Where did I leave off here? Here's a link to the archives. The recording of today's session will be added to the archives. I think that's where I am. Emailed out and posted on the TIAA forum when ready, typically within a week. This one's going to take a little bit longer because there were some anonymity breaks. I can already tell.
Sorry, guys.
We've given Jacob a little work to do. The recording of today's sessions will be added to the archives, posted. Okay, I said that. Thank you. And we're going to stop the recording now. Is that right? Somebody's going to stop the recording. Thank you all so much for making this a wonderful technology sharing session. Our next session will be Tuesday.